Before I tell you the strategy, अभी क्या strategy follow कर रहे हो? So how do you know the strategy is right, that you are going in the right direction or not? Question say. Idea, what is the idea के paper में आता क्या है? What is the strategy or what exactly is the syllabus or domain of the paper? So basic idea I'll give you. We are on the right strategy. This is the what the approach should be. But basic idea है क्या? The exam is talking about general studies, right? Both prelims and mains. When it's talking about general studies, two things are important here. First, and I'm talking about economics, because once I understand what exactly is the subject about and what is the domain here, I will then be able to have a strategy, and based on the strategy I'll be able to prepare. Preparation can be tested when we have number of tests. Test will tell you whether you are in the right path or not. First, topics is something which you know, and second is I know the topics, now I can solve the question also. Two things, in knowing that we are doing the right thing, and second, are we able to solve the right thing or not. So the first thing is how an economy works. That is the first domain of the paper. And second is working of Indian economy. This is what is the entire domain of the paper. How an economy works. This is when you said money, banking, GDP. These things are basics about how exactly the growth happens, what is unemployment, what is employment, what is inflation. Once you understand how an economy works, we will then talk about working of Indian economy. Working of Indian economy has two aspects. One is called as the basic aspect of Indian economy, which talks about the structure of Indian economy. Cropping pattern, what are different minerals available where, who regulates those minerals, who measures inflation, who measures unemployment, employment, the basic part of it, that is the static portion. The other part is what is the dynamic part, which is current events in the Indian economy. Now these are the three sections of the paper which have to be prepared. How an economy works, this is mostly important for prelims. Structure of Indian economy and current events in Indian economy, this is both prelims plus mains. The type of the question that is asked is different, but the topic remains the same. Now, out of the total questions that are being asked in prelims, there are 7 to 8 questions here, 7 to 8 questions from this end, and mains from this end itself, I'm going to have 8 questions, 8 to 9 questions, depending on every year. Which is based on actually the topics mentioned in the syllabus itself. So first we should know what are we preparing for. Once I know what exactly is my domain list, then I can have the source list. Then I can read the source list. The second source list. Once the sources somewhere I've read, then I will practice and I will keep on improving. Why? Because this part is quite dynamic in nature, which would require extensive reading of the newspaper. Section A, only important for prelims. Section B, important for prelims and important to write answers. Section C. Mains is mostly here, but it will be linked to the structure of the Indian economy. These two you will not be able to understand till the time you understand this. That means my preparation for economy or preparation for any subject for that matter in GS or even in optional will go like this only. That first you will have to prepare the basics of how anything works, how the polity works, how geography, different geomorphology, climatology, different events. All of those things first you need to understand their basic. Once you understand their basic, you will come to know what is actually happening in India. First, how did we reach here? If India has reached this point, what has happened already and right now who's doing what? When you make sense of this, when this is something which is done, then you are able to make sense of what is happening and what is going to happen further. So when we have reached 2026, till 2026 what was happening in the Indian economy and who does what are the different policies. For example, rural development mein there is a policy called Manrega. Now Manrega is passed in 2009. So 2009 wali cheez ab tak bhi chal rahi hai. So I have to know what is happening right now. But the government changed it to a new scheme, that is the Viksit Bharat, the Gramin GRAMG Act. Right? So ab wo teen cheezein link ho gayi. First, I should know what is poverty. Then I should know how the Indian government is solving poverty and what is poverty in India. And third, what is the present scheme with respect to poverty. The three things will connect, then you are prepared for both prelims and mains. And we have to do all the three. This is the first segment. You spend time lot here because this segment is mostly the understanding part. Once you understand, this is where is the application part. 1A section or B section ka jitna acha your preparation would be, the better you are here and here, the better you will become in writing answers here in GS3, and the better you will have a chance to solve questions in prelims which are coming from both these sections. What we need is a combination of section A and section B, which takes roughly 50 to 60 classes when we do it in the class. So basic idea is we do this and we are expecting you to do this. You do all the three together, the first attempt itself you clear the exam. But it has to be first clarity on what exactly the exam is about. First is this, then this, and then this. C part will only make sense when you combine A and B part. Without that, you will not be able to reach. So this is the first, the broader domain of the paper. Now, what exactly is the syllabus of this exam? This is what the broader idea is. Now, I'll tell you basics, how exactly we reach here. Now, two things I have to know. Is this making sense? Now, two things I have to check here. For how an economy works, now this is very broad. This is the base of my preparation. This is where the prelims exams is. How an economy works in mains they don't ask. Why? Because mains has a defined syllabus and each and every topic that is mentioned in the syllabus is where they frame a particular question. So how an economy works, I don't have any question directly in mains. So whatever is a role of household, what are savings, what is interest rate, what is monetary policy, what is fiscal policy, these questions are not directly asked in mains. What is asked in mains is monetary policy in India. It might be asked. What is fiscal policy? Why? Because mains the syllabus is defined. Prelim syllabus is not. From various sources we come to know this has happened. How economy works, prelims mein kaise aati hai? First thing that you have to do, this is the first step. We have to shortlist the topics which are being asked. And second, we need to know the depth of the topic. That is, I have to build the dimensions of the topic. For example, if I say the topic is growth and development. If the topic is growth and development, how much in depth will the growth and development be asked? What will be the nature of the question? So one is drawing the topics and the other is the dimensions of the topic. Topic is what to read and dimensions are how much to read. These are the two things which I have to do initially. So once I've understood that my exam is talking about how an economy works and is talking about working of Indian economy, this means first section which I have to do is how an economy works. I need to know what are the topics and how much I have to read. ये तीनों section के लिए करना है. I've done it for first section, economics. I'll tell you how to do it for second and also the third section. One by one, I'll explain all the topics to you. Now, when this topic and depth of topic, how will this, I understand this? For this, I will have to do the PYQ analysis. In the PYQ analysis, you don't have to know what is the answer of the question. From the PYQ analysis of the last 15 years or 10 years of economics, what you need to know is what topics question they ask and how much they ask. So we just have to note down by looking at PYQs of all the last 10 to 15 years, what exactly was the question asked. You don't have to know the answer. None of the questions you don't know have to the answer. You just have to know the questions and their topics. That's it. ये first stage है. Without knowing this, you can't move to any stage. So first, my certain time period, 15 days, 20 days, 1 month, will go in understanding this. This understanding is what we have built. This is where we study in the class based on this understanding only. Since sometimes people find it difficult, this is why coming to the class, we have sorted this list out on what to be read and how much to be read. Second step is you have to read it. Third step is you solve questions on it. But first step is knowing what to read. Now, based on the PYQ analysis, what are the topics to be read and dimensions? I'll do for 2-3 topics for you. What is the first topic list? The topic list coming from the previous year is 6 to 7 different topics in specifically how an economy works. The first topic is national income accounting. That is measuring the total income or production of a country. This topic broadly is topic of growth and development. National income accounting means counting the total income of a nation, counting total production of a nation, जिसको हम GDP, GNP and और related चीजें बोलते हैं. Increase in GDP, GNP and these factors is what we call as growth. फिर related growth से term आता है एक development, कि what is development, how is development measured. Now this growth measurement, development measurement will be for all economies. This is for India, this is for US, this is for all economies. The second topic that will come here is what is the role of money and banks in the economy. This is talking about 2 things. Central banking, what does the RBI do? And second is normal banks कैसे काम करते हैं. First I'll give you the topics. फिर कुछ topics के I'm going to give you dimensions also, so that you get to know हर topic का आपको dimension कैसे draw करना है. The third topic is role of the government in the economy, that is fiscal policy. The fourth is interaction of the domestic economy with rest of the world. This is what is called as the external sector. A related topic, rest of the world interaction. A related topic to money is the topic of inflation. To growth and development, it is poverty, unemployment, and inequality. Then related to banking is your capital markets, financial markets, stock exchange, bonds, etc. Now this explains me the general working of any economy. Prelims 6 to 7, sometimes 8 questions will come from this only. Once you understand this, you will be able to use this information in Indian economy. But direct question nahi aayega कि what are the causes of inflation. What the question will be, what are causes of inflation in India. That means the second step of my preparation, which I talked about here, is structure of Indian economy and current events. These things will not make sense until unless you know how an economy works. So the first thing I am trying to know is how an economy works. How an economy works, these are the 7 topics. How do I know? These topics have been arrived from past 15 years prelims paper. I'll do the dimensions of all four so that you know कि इनके dimensions कैसे बनाने. These are smaller topics. I'll draw the dimensions of these first four for you. Topic plus dimension, you know, then we find source. Source, we read, we understand. Once we read and understand, then we solve questions. The strategy is done. So the first strategy was knowing what we are doing in terms of A, B, and C sections. The second becomes, in this how an economy works, I need topic list and I need to understand how much the dimensions are. I have drawn the topic list for you. This is what is the 7 topics important for prelims. Now second thing is how much to be read. अब ये topic बहुत बड़े हैं. इनका depth कितना जाना है? What is the depth here? Consider the first topic, that is national income accounting. National income accounting, we start with the basics of the economy, in which we understand the meaning of the various terms. Terms such as what is production, what are factors of production, what are exports, what are imports, all the basics, what is the meaning of investment, what is meaning of capital goods, all of this. Now this part is something which we start the class with. But ideally what has to happen is this should be done from the NCERT. Class 6 to 10th NCERT इन्हीं चीजों को समझाता है अलग अलग sections में. From this I get to know the basic terms. Once I know the basic terms, I need to know working of the economy. Working of the economy, class 12th NCERT is explaining through the circular model. Circular model of the production and income. So once you understand, then you will know कि household, firm, government, everyone how is they are interacting, किसी भी economy में production हो कैसे रहा है. So when we talk about the basic terms first, then we know the working of the basic terms. Working of the basic term के लिए circular model of income और production है. Class 6 to 10th NCERT is here. Class 12th NCERT first chapter starts with this only. What is circular model? Once I know circular model, I will get to know that in production of income, or when production is happening or income is generated, both the things are happening. I now need to measure the income. Measure income or measure output. This is what is concept of GDP. So basics first, terms 6 to 10th NCERT. In 12th NCERT starts with explaining how the basics work. The third is measure what you are trying to understand. GDP, GNP, NDP, all the related terms, and 3 methods of GDP calculation. Income, production, and expenditure. So this how I know meaning terms के पूछे हुए हैं, कौन क्या करता है, ये सब previous year questions में they have asked. Based on that only I am telling you the dimensions of the topic. The fourth thing important here is, if I have measured income, I know what is growth. Now I need to know what is the meaning of development. Meaning of development, approach to development, how can we bring development, factors important for growth and development. Once factors, all of this basic understanding of growth and development has happened, fifth thing where would be, how do I measure development? This year, first question in mains was Human Development Index and Inequality Adjusted Human Development Index. That was measurement of development, but in Indian context. So, mara basic understanding, if you know how development is measured, you will be able to use that development understanding in India also. So, it's a combination of two. You know development, how it is measured, and second step is, how is India now will measure this development on that indicator. Once measurement of development is clear, the sixth indicator here would be the economic systems. Who decides? Decision making is done how? This decision making is done, there are systems. One is called as capitalism, another is socialism, a related is also feudalism. If you see, it's all a logical connection. Income generation के लिए first you need to know what is income. How is income generated? How is income measured? Income measurement alone does not do anything. Development. How is development measured? How is development measured, or how is development happening, and how is development, what factors are required? Finally, who decides what is to be produced? Decision making किसकी है? Market, state or feudal lord. 3 systems. Once this is done, a related topic to this is, which is related to growth and development, that is the topic of inclusive growth. This is the main related topic, but related to this only. What is inclusive growth? Why we need inclusive growth? And how do we bring inclusive growth? These 3 dimensions. Mains mein, there are number of questions on inclusive growth. So now, first thing, I have drawn the topic list. Topic list was national income accounting. This came from PYQs. PYQs का 15 साल का more analysis, I came to know from national income accounting, these are the topics which I have to prepare. Once I know these 7 topics, then I will try to find a source from where to read this. Every topic, when I draw the dimensions, I then find what the source I have to read for this. Source is, say for example, you are doing it from class. So what is the pattern of the study which you have to follow? Doing it in the class means first you have to develop the understanding for the class. You are asking questions, you know what exactly the things are. After the class, you have to do the revision of all this particular understanding. Problem with the subject is that the subject is not familiar. We have heard of term parliament, we know constitution, we have heard of monsoons, we have heard of history, we have heard different kingdoms, Britishers, then Congress, and then the previous Mughal era, everything. Here the familiarity is missing. So revision would be 3 times. This is the basic revision I'm telling you. First, the revision has to happen same day. Revision has to happen in the same week. And then revision has to happen at the end of the month. I have drawn the topic list. I have known the dimensions. Once this dimension is known, I will first try to form a particular book or a particular printed material which is going to build me the understanding. Once the understanding part is done, I will need constant revision. This constant revision is multiple times, same day, same week and same month. The concept is going to come to you. That means once you revise, you will be able to retain and you will be able to recall. This is the most important step in economics, because in economics what happens is, till the time you are sitting in the class, I will say something, you will understand. Whatever the faculty will explain, you will understand. But after that, you will not be able to relate anything. वो सब भूलते जाओगे. Why? Because you are not able to retain or you are not able to recall. Given 6-7 subjects are being done at the same time. So once I've known the topic and I've known the dimensions, I need to pick up source. I have finalized the source. Based on the source, I understand. And once this understanding is done, I need to focus on retain and recall. That is, I have to constantly revise. That is the first step. Second, similarly in money, how do I draw this dimension? So I've drawn it for the national income accounting. Similarly, money mein what exactly do we read? This is drawing the dimensions. We start with first, what is money? And what are the functions of money? Once you understand money and its functions, you will know that money has different forms. Money started with commodities, money came to paper currency, so now we are also moving to digital currency. In the last 5 years, there have been 3 to 4 questions on digital currency itself. Once forms of money is clear, we talk about what is demand of money. What is money supply? And when we discuss demand of money and money supply, we have a related topic which we need to understand. That is role of central bank. What is the function of central bank in the economy? What does it do? Understanding central bank, that is understanding RBI. Once this is done, how does bank operate? What is the meaning of money multiplier. Related, once you know, understand money, the concept is also of monetary policy. This is what is the basics of money and banking, just like basics of growth and development, basics of money and banking. These are the 7 topics. One related topic you can also do is, what is financial instrument, financial security? That is, talk about concept of near money. These 7 topics are the dimensions based on the last 15-year paper. Just like I had drawn the dimensions here of growth and development topic, I have similarly from the previous year questions drawn the dimensions of the topic money. Now, once this money topic dimensions are drawn, second step what you have to do is, what is the source you are going to prepare? From source you will develop the understanding, and based on this understanding there is going to be constant revision. Every topic, this is the flow. This is how we have to proceed. Once these 2 months you have done on the basics of the economy, the 7 topics I told you, then we come to the application part where newspaper reading and also basics become important. First I'm telling you the stage 1 of preparation. Similarly, the third topic here is fiscal policy. In fiscal policy, what are the dimensions? We start with what are taxes and features of taxation in India. Second is expenditure, that is budget. We talk about classification of budget. Revenue classification, capital classification. Once this revenue and capital classification is done, we talk about concept of deficit and concept of debt of government. If the government spends more than what it collects, we will have a borrowing requirement. Borrowing requirement, what is fiscal deficit, what is revenue deficit, what is primary deficit, and the deficit combines into debt. So we try to understand the meaning of debt in India. How is debt calculated? Once this debt is done, we talk about financing of deficit and debt. Government brings money from what sources? How does this borrow? Once borrowing is understood, we talk about fiscal discipline, how much they should borrow, why there should be a limit on borrowing. Understanding the dimensions of fiscal discipline, we also have one more topic which is more Indian economy related, that is center state fiscal relations. So I have drawn the dimensions of growth and development, I have drawn the dimensions of money and banking, and now I have drawn the dimensions of the fiscal policy. Again, same. I need to know what are the sources to prepare for this. Based on the sources, then I will need a source for, or the same thing I will have to revise. 7 topics के लिए यही step चलेगी. These 7 topics in the class roughly take 30 to 35 classes. Class plus if you want a source of revision, that comes from the printed material. तो ये macro economics का जितना भी portion है, all of this economy which we have talked about, these 7 topics, the understanding will happen in the class notes, plus you will have the printed material to read from. This is going to suffice for these 7 topics. So once I know the topic list and the dimensions, these two will help me build the understanding. मुझे 2 काम करना है बस. First चीज के क्लास में समझ आए, नहीं आएगा तो उसके बाद पूछना है, उसके अगले दिन पूछना है. Second is you have to revise it multiple times so that वो retention और recall आता रहे. नहीं तो after 7 days what will happen कि I know what is fiscal policy but किसी ने पूछा तो नहीं जवाब आ पा रहा है. Why? Because याद नहीं है. So उसके लिए revision चाहिए. Revision which I told you is 3 things here. You will have to revise same day, within that same week for 5 days, 6 days, whatever you study, and within the month. Month में also you can do 14 days and 28 days. So वो 4 बार 5 बार तो आपने 1 महीने में पढ़ लिया. Automatically retention and recall becomes better. So हमारा first purpose is to solve this. Second purpose is to do this. दिस व्हेन फॉर्म्स अ गुड बेस, ये जो फाउंडेशन बन जाता है, फिर उसके बाद काम करना बहुत आसान है. दिस इटसेल्फ इज अ प्रॉब्लम. ये नहीं होगा तो सेकंड और थर्ड स्टेप ऑटोमेटिकली कुछ नहीं हो पाएंगे. दिस डज नॉट हैपन. यहां प्रॉब्लम बन गई तो वो यहां और यहां प्रॉब्लम बनी रहेगी, तो प्रीलिम्स का आधा पेपर भी नहीं होगा एंड मेंस भी नहीं होगा. सो फर्स्ट हम ये प्रॉब्लम सॉल्व करेंगे. इसमें इट टेक्स टाइम, बट वंस यू डू इट you automatically will be able to understand how to do these two. Now similarly I'll draw for external sector also. ये चार टॉपिक बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है. मनी, ग्रोथ एंड डेवलपमेंट, फिस्कल पॉलिसी एंड the next is how does the economy interact with rest of the world, that is external sector. Now external sector, what the questions or what the dimensions are. First dimension is balance of payment accounts. What is current account, what is capital account, what is recorded where. All of that. Second, related to balance of payment account is an important concept which is part of capital account, which is called as your foreign exchange reserves. What are foreign exchange reserves? Why do we maintain them and how much do we maintain them? Third is currency exchange rate. How it is determined? Market exchange rate, purchasing power parity. What are the factors influencing exchange rate? And what is the impact of exchange rate on the economy? Nominal exchange rate, real exchange rate, effective exchange rates, market-based exchange rate, PPP-based exchange rate. Once exchange rate is done, we then try to understand international institutions. This is also a favorite topic in prelims. Last year there was questions on 2-3 institutions. There was a question on Asian Development Bank. There was a question on the World Bank, International Bank for Reconstruction Development. 3 bodies which are very important here to understand. One is World Bank, the other is IMF and WTO. Then the countries also interact with each other and form agreements, that is regional trade agreements. These are the 5 dimensions. Now this fiscal policy and money, ये traditionally सबसे ज़्यादा covered areas हैं. These dimensions, fiscal policy and external sector. So for how the economy works, for 7 topics, I have to draw the dimension list like this. Once I have the dimension list, I will now then understand that I will pick the source. So what I've done for these 7. So section A mein, how an economy works, what you have to do. This is 1/2 of prelims paper. I'm just summarizing whatever I've told you. First thing is, I have to draw the topic list. Second step is, I have to draw the dimensions of the topic. And third is, I have to pick the source from which I will make the understanding. Fourth is, I am going to constantly revise. And fifth is, I will practice MCQs. This is the strategy for preparation of section A, that is prelims, how an economy works, macroeconomics. This topic list, dimension, source, these 3 mostly is what we do in the class itself. If you want to do it on your own, you have that option because you will be able to find the source once this topic list and dimension is done. For this dimension and topic, what we do in the classes, we do the PYQ analysis first. उससे ये आ जाता है, फिर हम क्लास में अंडरस्टैंडिंग बनाएंगे, फिर हम PYQ सॉल्व करते हैं. Solving PYQ only happens here. First PYQ is to understand this. Solve नहीं होगा, वो solve इस third step के बाद होगा. थर्ड और फोर्थ कॉम्बिनेशन से ये सॉल्व होगा, फिर और एमसीक्यू सॉल्व कर सकते हैं. सो दिस इज व्हाट इज माय 1/2 ऑफ प्रिपरेशन. Roughly 2 months is what is taken here. 2 months you would require to prepare basic of this particular topic. Once this is done, you will be able to now progress to the second part of the paper, prelims and also for mains. Is this making sense? Okay, what we have to do? Coming to the first slide itself. How an economy works is what I've given you the strategy for. इसका strategy clear हो गया. अब बात करते हैं how to come to strategy to this. That is structure of Indian economy and the present of the Indian economy. How to prepare, this is part B and this is part C. How will this happen? For Indian economy, I have to stick to one thing which is where I get most of the topics, is I have to refer to syllabus of mains. यहीं से आएगा सबको, GS3, 8, 9 topics. What is the syllabus of mains? This is going to give me the topic list. First, the topic here is the employment scenario, all of this in India. When we discussed how an economy works, हमने बात की थी किसी भी एक जनरल इकोनॉमी की, only the working of a general economy. Now growth in India, development in India, planning of resource in India, employment scenario in India. Everything is Indian specific now. Second, related to this is inclusive growth, all types of questions and issues related to it. This I told you, growth and development के basics में also you can do if you understand the meaning of this term. Third is role of government, that is government budgeting. Fourth most important topic is Indian agriculture. 3 to 4 questions in mains, 2 to 3 questions in prelims. This is the star topic for our exam. And this is the least read topic. सबसे ज़्यादा क्वेश्चन इससे आते हैं, सबसे कम पढ़ाई इसकी होती है इंडियन एग्रीकल्चर की. Why? Because mostly what happens is जो ये सेक्शन है पेपर का, ये 7 टॉपिक्स हैं. दिस इज सो न्यू एंड if you start understanding, there are so many things to understand that you will feel complete that yes, I now understand economy. So this section gives a sense of satisfaction. है ना, शादी में सबसे पहले जाके गोलगप्पे इतने खा लिए, रोटी नहीं खाई गई. खाने तो रोटी आए थे ना, तो जब वो चाट इतनी खा ली कि वो रोटी नहीं है, तो चाट इतनी इंपॉर्टेंट थी नहीं, बट वो जाती इतनी भूख लगी थी कि सबसे ज्यादा सेटिस्फाई उसी चाट से हो गए. प्रॉब्लम है कि फिर मेन जो न्यूट्रिशन जहां से आना था, जिसके लिए आए थे, वो खा ही नहीं पाए. तो दैट मीन्स इंडियन इकोनॉमी तक पहुंचते पहुंचते आई वाज सो सैटिस्फाइड, आई वाज सो फुल दैट आई हैव नॉट प्रिपेयर्ड एनी ऑफ दोस टॉपिक्स. So now this is why consistently people will score very less in GS3 and will face problem in prelims also, because if this section of the paper is not asked in the prelims, for example some years out of 16 question इसके 5 या 6 क्वेश्चन ही आए, 10 क्वेश्चन इंडियन इकोनॉमी के आ गए, इसके 4 ही क्वेश्चन आए, 12 क्वेश्चन इंडियन इकोनॉमी के आ गए, तो अब प्रीलिम्स भी फंस जाएगा, मेंस तो होगा ही नहीं. दिस इज व्हाट हैपेंस वंस यू आर टू मच मोटिवेटेड. सो आई विल स्पेंड ऑल ऑफ माई एनर्जी हेयर. वो पूरी एनर्जी अगर यहाँ पे लग गई तो फिर आगे के लिए कुछ बचा नहीं, तो पढ़ने का मन नहीं करेगा, वो नहीं करेगा. सोर्स नहीं ढूंढोगे, यू विल नॉट बी एबल टू प्रिपेयर. You can't prepare, you will not be able to write, because now I need a writing skill also there. In these topics what is easy was I just need to answer सामने है, प्रिलिम्स में से टिक लगाना है. I don't have to write anything. In agriculture, challenge is double. I have to first understand and I also have to explain someone in 8 minutes in 150 words. So the challenge is twice the difficulty level of what this is. But thing is, ये नया नया तैयारी में जोश बहुत होता है, फिर ये थोड़ा बहुत समझ आने लगता है, फिर इसमें एफर्ट इतना लग जाता है कि फिर आगे के लिए थक गए. 100 मीटर में पहले 30 मीटर सबसे तेज भाग जाओगे ना, तो लास्ट के 70 कभी कुछ नहीं कर पाओगे. So you have to decide how much you have to run at what pace. Every 10 meters is what counts. This is the initial 30 meters of preparation only. In the 100-meter race, you also have to run 70 meters. If you exhaust yourself in 30, this preparation, no, there's no selection. और इस 30 का भी कोई काम नहीं है. 100 मीटर में 30 मीटर में सबसे आगे होने का कोई पूरा पॉइंट नहीं मिलता है. लास्ट तक रेस तक आगे आना है. सो Indian agriculture, I'll tell you dimensions also, just wait for it. Yes, you were asking something. तो वो क्लास के बाद आप रिवाइज करो ना, 2 क्लास भी जब हो रही हैं तो 2 क्लास. सी प्रिपरेशन में एनी डे 24 आवर्स यू हैव. 24 आवर्स में अगर आपकी 2 क्लास हो जाती है, कितने घंटे की? 2.5 घंटे की क्लास है, 2.5 घंटा प्लस, तो मान लेते हैं 6 घंटे की क्लास है, राइट. 2 आवर्स हम वी कैन से 1 आवर बिफोर द क्लास, 1 आवर आफ्टर द क्लास यू कांट स्टडी, राइट. सो ये 8 आवर्स आर गॉन. 8 आवर्स इन द डे इज समथिंग विच इज गिवन टू स्लीप. उसके बाद भी तो 8 घंटे बचे हैं. ये 8 घंटे कहां है दूसरे से? अभी तो हम क्लास में जो हो रहा है वही पढ़ेंगे ना पहले तो दूसरे सब्जेक्ट तो जब वो पढ़ेंगे तब वो पढ़ेंगे. अभी तो 6 से रिलेटेड 8 ही है ना. तो जो यहां 2 क्लास हुई, आर दीज 2 8 आवर्स लेस फॉर रिविजन एंड न्यूज़पेपर? सी प्रिपरेशन का जो स्टार्टिंग पॉइंट है ना, यहां पे यू नो व्हाट योर रियलिटी इज. अपनी समझ आ गई ना कि मैं यहां हूं, तो फिर पता चलेगा 24 घंटे कितने कहां जाने चाहिए. दूसरों के बताए पे जाओगे कि वो इतने कर लेता, मैं इतने, वो दैट डजंट मैटर. योर प्रिपरेशन इज योर स्कूल प्लस कॉलेज. नाउ आई डोंट नो व्हाट यू डिड हियर, राइट. आई एम इंटरेस्टेड इन दिस स्टार्टिंग पॉइंट कि जब तक आप यहां आए हो आपकी कैपेसिटी क्या है. योर कैपेसिटी ओनली यू नो. Knowing from your college mark sheet, also school mark sheet, I know nothing. My capacity to read, my capacity to sit and study, that only you know. Now I know कि where I have to reach, end goal क्या है, right? तो जब यहां पे अपनी reality पता है, तो हर रोज जब 24 hours you have to spend, you need to know how to use this. If someone is saying they study 16 hours, so they know their starting point is weak. Automatically उसको ज्यादा टाइम लगेगा. आपको पता है कि आपकी कैपेसिटी अच्छी, तो आपको 8 लग रहे हैं. एवरीवन हैज अ यूनिक जर्नी. आई कांट टेल यू व्हाट यू हैव टू डू, आई कैन ओनली टेल यू द बेसिक्स कि दिस इज द स्ट्रेटजी. नाउ हाउ टू यूज द टाइम इन एवरी डे, आई कांट टेल यू दैट. मैं अब ये थोड़ी आपको बताऊंगा सुबह 8 बजे उठो और 9 बजे तक खाना खा लेना चाहिए और 11 बजे तक सोना है. ये तो 21 साल के हो गए, इतना तो समझ आता है. अगर ये भी समझ नहीं आता फिर तो बहुत दिक्कत हो जाएगी. जीवन जीना नहीं सिखा सकता कोई, ये बता सकता पढ़ना क्या. पढ़ना तो खुद ने है ना. So now ये 24 hours how will they distribute? You know there are 2 classes, so automatically see how you're using your energy and how much time is left after that. The only 2 realities that exist is कि दिन में 8 घंटे सोना है. इस रियलिटी के अलावा कोई रियलिटी नहीं है. और अब बाकी बचे 16. अब ये देखो यूज कैसे करने हैं. The only thing one every day has to manage is 8 hours of sleep. That's it. उसके अलावा कुछ भी इंपॉर्टेंट नहीं है. तो now next 16 hours what you will do? अब बोलो कि 2 क्लास हो जाएगा तो आई कैन टेल यू 8 तो घंटे फिर भी बच गए. तो वो क्या कर रहे थे? और जबकि पता है कि यहां तक यहां से कुछ नहीं करके आए. अगर ये पता है और ये पता है कि मुझे बहुत सीखने की जरूरत है, दिस इज कैपेसिटी टू स्टडी. पढ़ना नहीं कभी भूल चुके हो तो ऑटोमेटिकली यहां टाइम पता चल जाएगा रियलिटी क्या है. तो जो एंड गोल है वो सबसे कम टाइम यू विल टेक इज 12 मंथ्स. थोड़ा ज्यादा यू विल टेक 18 मंथ्स. बिल्कुल ही कुछ नहीं पढ़ा हुआ है तो लगेंगे 2 साल. फिर उसके बाद कितनी बार भी एग्जाम देते रहो, किसी भी 1 साल क्लियर हो जाएगा. इनिशियल प्रिपरेशन ये है. बट फॉर दैट यू नीड टू नो योर स्टार्टिंग पॉइंट. अपने आप से झूठ नहीं बोल सकते इस एग्जाम में. दुनिया को चाहे कुछ बोलो, अपने आप से झूठ बोल लिया तो इसमें चाहे 6 साल लगाओ चाहे 15 साल लगा लो, रिजल्ट फेलियर ही आएगा, बिकॉज कंपटीशन है. You have to start here and you know how to manage 24 hours. No one can tell you this. What anyone can tell you is how to study, what to study. But how के बाद तो करना तो आपको पड़ेगा ना. मैं तो बता दूंगा कि यार ये टॉपिक पढ़ लो और ऐसे मैंने पढ़ा दिया, अब ये रिवाइज कर लो. उसके बाद अगर घर जाके नहीं पढ़ोगे तो मैं और कितना पढ़ा दूंगा. Anyone can only guide you once you are 22 years of age. No one can hold your hand and then make you right. वो क्लास फर्स्ट में कराते हैं. अब तो फर्स्ट में भी नहीं कराते, प्ले स्कूल में ही बता देते हैं. वो 2 लाख रुपए और ले देंगे बताने के. ये रियलिटी फेस कर ली फिर आगे आसानी होगी. इंडियन एग्रीकल्चर, आई टेल यू डायमेंशंस. अब इसके 2 टाइप के टॉपिक्स आते हैं. फर्स्ट टाइप इज अंडरस्टैंडिंग इंडियन एग्रीकल्चर, दैट इज स्ट्रक्चर ऑफ इंडियन एग्रीकल्चर, वेयर वी डिस्कस क्रॉपिंग पैटर्न. क्रॉपिंग पैटर्न के क्वेश्चंस इन प्रीलिम्स आर मल्टीपल. सेकेंड वी डिस्कस irrigation techniques. We talk about technology in aid of farmers. We talk about livestock sector. This is the structure of Indian agriculture. Then is the policy. Policy में Indian agriculture has subsidies, pricing policy, agriculture marketing, and food security, that is PDS, and NFSA. This is the star topic of the exam in prelims and mains both, Indian agriculture. If you go and read the GS3 syllabus, सबसे ज्यादा टॉपिक का मेंशन यही एग्रीकल्चर का है. Related to agriculture, there are 2 small topics which they ask. First is land reform, and the next is food processing industry. Industrial policy, impact of 91 reforms, infrastructure and investment models. This is part B and part C of the paper. Part A is what I told you was macroeconomics, how any economy works. Part 2 is structure of the Indian economy and working of the Indian economy. Both things. This is what is the topic list is. Once this topic list, this is GS3 syllabus completely. How is this to be prepared? This particular section, I know the topics. I will draw the dimensions from the PYQs, both prelims and mains. सेक्शन ए की तैयारी हो चुकी है, हाउ एन इकोनॉमी वर्क्स की. टॉपिक बन गए, डायमेंशन बन गए, पढ़ लिए, क्वेश्चन सॉल्व हो गए. इसका अगेन सेम टॉपिक लिस्ट आई हैव गिवन यू. You need to know the dimensions from the PYQs, both prelims and mains. Based on these topics and dimensions, I will now have to prepare consolidated notes. ये बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है यहां पे. उसकी तैयारी फिर भी कहीं से मिल जाएगी. इसमें 2 तरह के नोट्स बनते हैं. फर्स्ट इज द स्टैटिक पोर्शन, which will be again combination of class notes plus printed material. Second is the dynamic part, that is which is constantly evolving. एक तो होता है कि इंडियन इकोनॉमी है क्या, दूसरा इंडियन इकोनॉमी में अब क्या हो रहा है. What is there in the Indian economy structure? This is the static part. Classes plus printed notes will make you understand all topics. The second is what is happening in the Indian economy right now. This is where I need regular reading of the newspaper, the economic survey, and every year budget. Survey and budget of the year in which you prepare. जब attempt देना है उसी साल में ये. Otherwise regular reading of the newspaper itself. So my combination is this, base notes are this, plus I have notes from the newspaper, or if newspaper notes you are not making, you have the revision magazines. This is a revision source. Direct ये नहीं पढ़ना है, पहले newspaper पढ़ना है, तभी ये revision source समझ आएगा. पढ़ना क्या है? Newspaper. Every day 2 newspapers you try, the Hindu and the Indian Express. If you can read one, choose one, 2-3 months. Next 2-3 months, try to read both. Based on these systematic plus dynamic notes, once you have formed for all the topics which I mentioned before, this is where then you can Is this clear? लास्ट में. तो अब मैं तीनों का स्ट्रैटेजी कंबाइन करता हूं. ये मेरी बेस तैयारी थी. लिख भी सकते थे ना जब मैं बोल रहा था. If I am taking time to write, you are also taking time to write. मेरे को तो बोलना भी, आपको तो बोलना भी नहीं था. नोटबुक तो मैं ही लिख देता हूं. कितनी कम मेहनत करनी है ना. और 6 महीने बाद हमें डीसी बना दो डिस्ट्रिक्ट का. राजा बनना है बट काम सबसे कम करना है. तो फिर आप कैसे स्पेशल हो? दिस इज 1 section. This is section 2 and section 3. Yes. उतना टाइम कम लगेगा. टाइम इज लेस, बट कैन यू फाइंड मोर इंफॉर्मेशन व्हेन यू कंबाइन 2? Will your notes for mains be better if you combine 2? और जब साल में एक ही बार तैयारी करनी है तो why not do the best? Am I preparing for rank 389 or are you preparing for 257? What is the rank you are preparing for? तैयारी किस चीज की है ये? बस एक रैंक 1 ही चाहिए, तो उसी के लिए हिसाब से पढ़ाई करो. What you are saying अगेन कम कर लेता हूं, ये तो मिक्स ही होगा. पढ़ लो तो 10 मिनट ही तो ज्यादा लगेंगे. Some information, some facts which helps you solve a question in prelims. Benefit. बिकॉज वो छोटा छोटा जो हार्ड वर्क है वो नहीं मिलेगा कहीं और. जो आंसर में निकल के आता है कि कमिटी दे दी, कुछ एनालिसिस दे दिया है, कुछ फैक्ट्स दे दिया, कुछ और बात बता दी जो किसी को नहीं पता थी, वो आपके आंसर में कैसे आई? एवरी डे ऑन अ डेली बेसिस व्हेन यू मेक द हार्ड वर्क, देन ओनली यू विल गेट दैट माइन्यूट थिंग विच विल गेट यू द सिलेक्शन. पीपल थिंक ये तो इतनी आसान बात थी, मैं भी लिख देता. वो लिखने से के लिए पीछे जो 1 साल की मेहनत लगी है वो नहीं कर पाए ना. लिखा तो कमिटी का नाम ही था, लिखा तो 2 और ही अच्छी फैक्ट्स थे या 2 एग्जाम्पल अच्छे लिखे हुए थे, बट उस 2 फैक्ट को लिखने के लिए पूरे 1 साल न्यूज़पेपर पढ़ना पड़ा था. अब someone else think I can also do this. You can do this, but that will take every day. You need an hard work. किसी ने आपको बना के दे दिया और आपने उससे पढ़ के लिख दिया, फिर तो सारे लिख रहे हैं. तो how is your answer getting different? Somewhat different. Every question, if half a mark, 1 mark you get extra because someone else did not write the notes. How many marks will you get extra in 1 paper? कम से कम 10 marks. 10 पेपर multiplied by 4 GS papers. 40 marks. 40 marks 10-10 नंबर ऑप्शन में भी जोड़ लेते हैं. मिनिमम बता रहा हूं, मैक्सिमम नहीं. 60 मार्क्स कितना डिफरेंस क्रिएट करेगा मेंस में? नो सिलेक्शन एंड सिलेक्शन इज 60 मार्क्स. यहां लड़ाई ही 5-5 मार्क्स है. अब वो देखा छोटी चीज कितनी बड़ी हो गई. First day when you go to do any activity, I want to learn driving, I want to learn cooking, I want to learn weightlifting, I want to learn a sport. वो स्टार्ट सबसे छोटी चीज से ही होती है. वो छोटी चीज ही बार बार होते हुए बड़ी चीज बनती है. तो अगर 2.5 किलो का डंबल उठाओगे पहले दिन और वो रोज उठाओगे तो ही 20 किलो उठेगा लास्ट में. अब आप कह रहे हो कि 2.5 किलो रोज उठाना जरूरी है. ये दिस इज अ प्रॉब्लम. पीपल डोंट हैव दैट हार्ड वर्क कैपेसिटी बिकॉज एवरीबडी वांट्स अ शॉर्टकट. Shortcut you can only create when you first have done the hard work. Smart work happens after hard work, देयर इज नो स्मार्ट वर्क विदाउट हार्ड वर्क। ये जिस दिन समझ आ जाएगा उस दिन यहां पे सक्सेस मिल जाएगा। ये नहीं समझ आएगा और शॉर्टकट को आइडिया लग गया ब्रेन को कि 10 सेकंड वीडियो से ही हमें सब कुछ करना है, फेलियर टुडे, फेलियर टुमारो, फेलियर इन फ्यूचर, नो एब्सोल्यूट चांस ऑफ एनी सक्सेस। We have a lot of competition. People can do that. So you will have to. First was this, second was this. So now what is my strategy here? Combined strategy, what I told you. Combined strategy is, for the first section, macroeconomics, once the topic list is drawn, I need to develop understanding, and understanding has to be revised. ट्रिकी जो पार्ट है वो सेकेंड स्टेज ऑफ प्रिपरेशन है, दैट इज इंडियन इकोनॉमी। वंस आई हैव ड्रॉन द टॉपिक्स, आई विल हैव टू अंडरस्टैंड, एंड ऑल्सो आई एम अंडरस्टैंडिंग के साथ साथ एप्लीकेशन ऑफ दैट अंडरस्टैंडिंग। दिस मीन्स आई विल हैव टू मेक नोट्स। वन इज द स्टैटिक पोर्शन एंड द अदर इज द न्यूज़पेपर पोर्शन, प्लस द सर्वे and the budget. This is level 1 of preparation. This is level 2 of preparation. This becomes level 3 of preparation. First step is level 1, which will take 2 to 3 months. Level 2 and level 3 will take 1 to 3 months more. Once these two levels are done, then what I can do is practice MCQs and write answers. Step by step preparation. This level 1 is important for prelims. Level 2 is important for both prelims and mains. ये sectoral distribution था. 6 to 8 questions here, 6 to 8 questions here, and 8 to 9 questions here. This has to be done उससे पहले कभी नहीं रुकना है ये चीज, क्योंकि डिफिकल्टी लेवल बढ़ रहा है पेपर का. इफ यू वांट टू स्कोर वेल इन प्रीलिम्स एंड मेंस, यू हैव टू फॉलो दिस हैबिट. 1, 2 and 3 in combination, and then once 2 and 3 in combination happens, step 4. Once this is done for all subjects, सब में यही करना है. Once this is done for all subjects, ये कितनी बार भी कर सकते हो. जब जिनको ये क्लैरिटी आती है, people who have this clarity are the ones which clear the exam multiple times. तो उनकी एक बार रैंक आएगी, बार बार रैंक आएगी. क्यों? क्योंकि उनका ये बेस तैयार है. अब ये 1 + 2 is something which we do in the class. 3 is something you'll have to do on your own. But ये भी क्लास होती है, इसकी MCR की क्लास होती है, सर्वे की क्लास होती है, बजट की क्लास होती है, इसकी भी क्लास होती है, बट यू कैन ऑल्सो डू ऑन योर ओन. एफर्ट जो सबसे ज्यादा लगता है 1 और 2 में लगता है, वो क्लास लगती है 60 classes of 2.5 hours each, roughly 150 hours. Now it's on you whether you want to do it on yourself or you want to do it from the class. This is how the strategy is. I told you one by one how to build the bricks, how to set. Stage 4 stage 2 से पहले नहीं हो सकती, stage 2 stage 1 से पहले नहीं हो सकती. If you think you can start 1 and 2 together, absolutely not possible. पहले टाइम लगेगा इकोनॉमी की वर्किंग समझने में, फिर वो जब समझ आ जाएगी, याद हो जाएगी, तब फिर आओगे आप इंडियन इकोनॉमी में. इंडियन इकोनॉमी में फिर आप उसको न्यूज़पेपर में भी समझ पाओगे. ये 2 + 3 साथ साथ चलेंगे. ये आपने 6 महीने तक आपने रिवाइज कर लिया दोनों, आप कितनी भी डिफिकल्टी लेवल का क्वेश्चन हो, प्रीलिम्स मेंस, दैट विल नॉट बी अ प्रॉब्लम. बट दिस प्लस दिस requires a lot of, ये नहीं कि कभी कर लिया फिर छोड़ दिया, फिर बाद में कर लिया छोड़ दिया, ये नहीं चलेगा. डेली there can be breaks. One day you are not able to study, 2-3 दिन के बाद प्रॉब्लम हुई, फिर 4-5वें दिन 6ठे दिन कुछ हुआ, तो छोटे छोटे ब्रेक्स हो सकते हैं, बट बड़ा ब्रेक नहीं हो सकता. बड़ा ब्रेक हुआ तो ये फर्स्ट स्टेज ही कंप्लीट नहीं होगी. स्टेज 1 कंप्लीट नहीं होती, स्टेज 2 नहीं आ पाओगे, स्टेज 2 पे नहीं आओगे तो ये स्टेज 3 तो कोई भूल ही जाओ कभी हो जाए. 1 by 1 ऑल. स्टेप बाय स्टेप। 6 to 8 क्वेश्चंस इंडियन इकोनॉमी से आते हैं प्रीलिम से, जो वो सेम चीज यहां बताई थी। इधर स्ट्रक्चर से आते हैं 6 to 8 क्वेश्चंस। 6 to 8 क्वेश्चंस आते हैं यहां पे। इसमें ये भी आ सकता है, कई बार स्ट्रक्चर कम होता है, ये आता है, बट ये दोनों पार्ट है। कई बार ऐसा भी हुआ है कि ये एक पार्ट मिस है, इसमें 4 ही क्वेश्चन आए, 12 क्वेश्चन इन दोनों से आ गए। मेंस का तो है ही यही गेम। इवेंचुअली हमें लैंड तो इंडियन इकोनॉमी में करना है, पर इंडियन इकोनॉमी लैंड करने के लिए पहले मुझे बेसिक इकोनॉमी की चीजें समझ आनी चाहिए। प्रॉब्लम, हम बेसिक में इतना ज्यादा थक जाते हैं कि हम आगे नहीं पहुंच पाते। दिस इज व्हाट द प्रॉब्लम्स आर, दैट आई एम नॉट एबल टू डू दिस। ये सबसे बड़ा प्रॉब्लम है कि हम इसमें फंसे रह जाते हैं। ये स्टेज 1 जो बताई थी, इससे निकलना है 2 महीने के अंदर, इसलिए फोकस और डिसिप्लिन चाहिए, तो 2 महीने में निकल जाओगे, नहीं तो पूरे साल यही करते रहोगे। पेपर यहां नहीं होता है, कुछ ही क्वेश्चंस प्रीलिम्स के यहां हैं, नॉट मेंस एंड नॉट अदर प्रीलिम्स। इज इट मेकिंग सेंस? इन केस यू हैव डाउट विद रिस्पेक्ट टू एनीथिंग, दिस इज माई email address. You have a doubt with strategy, you have a doubt on source, you don't understand any concept here, you can always write. Any doubt with respect to anything in economics and UPSC? Sorry. I hope it was clear what I just discussed. Thank you.
Good afternoon. This one is called Open Session. And we are supposed to discuss how to prepare Constitution and Polity. What you people are expecting from me? What you are expecting from me? I have a very simple question. What you are expecting from me? What I should discuss with you? Okay. See, how to prepare is nothing but vague and very subjective matter. How to prepare Constitution and Polity is vague and subjective because lakhs of people are preparing for civil services and they have their own methodology to prepare this part of your syllabus also. That is a part of paper 2. From my point of view, there is no any specific criteria or specific well decided, universally accepted any methodology or any path to follow to prepare and to complete this part of your syllabus called Polity and Constitution or Constitution and Polity. How you will prepare, that will be and that should be up to you. But of course, if I am given some opportunity to share with you whatsoever I have based on my own experience, I will not share anything dramatic. I will try to be pragmatic. I will try to be practical. I will try to be honest in my approach, considering and realizing the problems of students, generally students face. I will try my best to see your problem from your point of view rather than from my point of view. Because if I will see your problem from my point of view, I will give suggestion based on the problem interpreted by me itself, and that may not be suitable for you. So as I told you, I should not be here dramatic but more pragmatic, more result oriented, honest, trustworthy, and to some extent, of course, compassionate to you people. Because you are struggling with your time management as well as your mind management to realize your goal against all hostilities, including social, financial, and at the same time, some other problems which are not in your control. So how to prepare that part of the discussion, I think I should divide into three major parts. First one is your syllabus. Second one is a requirement from students. Third one, material, what you should follow, and plus answer writing skill. So simply in three parts, I will divide. Without any use of so-called PPT, because in PPT, you people like audience enjoy movie like slides. That may reduce my responsibility, but I think in this area of your syllabus, that will not be effective. Not in every part of the syllabus, but in this part of syllabus that may not be effective. Come to this first one, syllabus. This syllabus is divided into two parts. One is constitutional part and second one is polity part. One is constitutional part and second one is polity part. From here itself, students are misguided, and this is the beginning, this is the originating point from where you are supposed to kickstart your journey towards your success. And unfortunately, because of people from this side as well as that side, divert your attention and deviate you from the main path. Deviation because of emphasis on polity at the cost of constitution. I'm sure you people also are expected to discuss polity rather than constitution and polity. Your syllabus also is not giving emphasis on polity only, will give emphasis on constitution and polity, because no polity without constitution you will find. And there will be no any value-laden interpretation of this term polity without getting support of constitution. If constitution is there, only then polity will come out with the nature, polity will come out with actual philosophy of the political institution any country is carrying with. So the important thing is what kind of constitution you have. I am not talking about constitution, written or unwritten constitution. What kind of constitution you have, whatsoever constitution you have, whosoever written that constitution, immaterial. But you must have some sort of constitution, because constitution is nothing of fundamental rule. So every country will have to come out with fundamental rule to deal with the polity whatsoever they have. So very important thing for us to understand before going to prepare, before going to kickstart our preparation, that what kind of constitution we are supposed to deal with, what kind of constitution we are supposed to read, and what kind of constitution we are expected to be careful about as per the demand of the syllabus. You will find our constitution is divided into number of hidden as well as unhidden topics. Hidden means what? The very concept of constitution. What kind of constitution you have, why you have written your constitution, what is the significance of written constitution, why India preferred a written constitution, and once we adopted that written constitution, what kind of impact, visible impact we are experiencing in our country in today's life. That we are supposed to discuss in one topic called concept of constitution. And after going through the concepts of constitution, you will find a very important aspect that is called preamble of constitution. Preamble of constitution is nothing but essence of the constitution. Preamble of constitution is nothing but a condensed constitution that will throw light to your constitution, or it will not be wrong to say, if you want to enlighten yourself with the help of preamble of constitution, then only, once you will try to enlighten yourself with the help of preamble of the constitution, then only you will understand the constitution. Without enlightenment, with the support of preamble, it will be very difficult for any students to understand what actually constitution demands, or how, in case of any kind of ambiguity, constitution will be interpreted or should be interpreted. These all things will come only after realizing and understanding the preamble of the constitution. So, from my point of view, it will be essential for you to give much more emphasis on the preamble of constitution. Why, what is preamble? Why preamble? What is the significance of preamble? The features of preamble. Take example, if someone will talk about preamble is nothing but a precursor of fundamental right. If preamble is nothing but a precursor of fundamental right, so how it will be possible for us to understand fundamental right without knowing ins and out of preamble of the constitution? So preamble of the constitution, if is the precursor of fundamental right, or preamble of the constitution is nothing but a store-keeping part of the constitution where you will find fundamental rights, directive principles and fundamental duties. So without knowing the very structure, the very procedure, the very feature or advantages of the preamble of constitution, or without knowing the beauty of the preamble of the constitution, very difficult for us to understand fundamental right, directive principles and fundamental duties. So in short, if anyone try to understand the basics, the micro aspect of fundamental rights, micro aspects of directive principles, micro aspects of fundamental duties, then preamble and only preamble will be in a position to give you understanding. Fundamental right, directive principles and fundamental duties are nothing but the philosophical interpretation of individuals' rights as well as responsibilities. These fundamental rights, directive principles and fundamental duties in totality cover not only rights but responsibilities also. And rights and responsibilities of citizen of the people as well as the state, citizen as well as the state. It means states have some responsibilities, citizens also have some sort of responsibilities, and state has some sort of rights, or in technical term, states have some authorities, and citizens also have some sort of rights to perform or to use during course of action. So these things will give you the accurate picture of the projection, what kind of projection Constituent Assembly try to come out with to see, to understand the future of India. And whatsoever projector is going to show you, that projector will show you these all fundamental rights, directive principles and fundamental duties only after realizing the importance of, or only in the light of the preamble of the Constitution that will enlighten every part of the fundamental right, directive principles and fundamental duties. That's why former Judge Supreme Court Justice Mahajan said that preamble is nothing but a precursor of fundamental rights. So we will have to understand preamble, only then we will understand fundamental right, directive principles and fundamental duties. Now, you should ask a question and you should know that why I have written fundamental rights, directive principles and fundamental duties in horizontal line, side by side. Fundamental rights are directly linked with directive principles, and fundamental rights and directive principles are directly linked with fundamental duties. Any of the three cannot be separated, right? These all three are indispensable ingredient for each other. You will find, and I will discuss with you in class, that in Minerva Mill case, Supreme Court categorically stated that fundamental rights are nothing but mean and directive principles are nothing but end, and these all means and end must be taken care of to realize the ultimate goal of this country. So, it will be essential for us to go for integrated approach, holistic approach, and once you will adopt integrated and holistic approach, it will be possible for you to understand fundamental right, directive principles, and fundamental duties. After knowing these all, we will come to a very, very important point that is called amendment of the Constitution and basic structure. Now, again, when we are preparing for civil service, why we should take amendment and basic structure at this stage? At this stage, not only amendment but basic structure, from my point of view, we should adopt, we should take to prepare, because amendment and basic structure will give us opportunity to rethink preamble, fundamental rights, and directive principles in terms of relevance of those things in 21st century India. So 21st century India demands what kind of preamble? 21st century India demands what kind of fundamental rights? 21st century India demands what kind of directive principles or fundamental duties? These all things will be possible only in light of amendment and basic structure. What is the philosophical interpretation of amendment? Why our constitution is called organic constitution? Why our constitution is called cosmopolitan constitution? Why our constitution is called dynamic constitution? Why our constitution is called hybrid model of constitution? A number of jargons are attached with the constitution of the country, and these all jargons are directly related to the amendment and basic structure of the constitution. On one hand, we are supposed to make our constitution organic, we are supposed to make our constitution vibrant, we are supposed to make our constitution dynamic, we are supposed to make our constitution living document, we are supposed to make our constitution organic, but at the same time, it will always be essential to continue with the basic fundamental feature that is called basic structure. It means without changing the skeleton of the system, you are supposed to recreate or rechange as per the demand of situation, as per the demand of society, as per the demand of ecology. I am talking about fleshes that will cover the skeleton of the body. A skeleton should not be changed, but the flesh that will cover a skeleton can be changed as per the demand of your ecology. In the same way, without changing the basic structure of the constitution, you are supposed to amend to make the constitution as per the demand of ecology. And here when I am talking about ecology, that is the social ecology, that is economic ecology, that is the political ecology. It means the environment of the country, either social or political or economic, will allow us to amend the constitution, to make the constitution trustworthy, to make the constitution relevant, but not at the cost of the basic structure of the constitution. That is the framework, that is the steel frame, skeleton of the constitution of this country. And then, whatsoever we have done from here to here will be covered in one topic. That topic is called constitutional morality and constitutionalism. Constitutional morality and constitutionalism, actually a litmus test. I will repeat, constitutional morality and constitutionalism are the litmus test to understand the adherence to the constitution by people of this country. To what extent, we the people of India are dedicated, are determined, are devoted to respect and extend honor to our constitution. Our constitution actually is the source of Indian democracy, is a source of civilized society, is a source of parliamentary democratic system, and we are expected to be ethical and moral with our constitution, to make our constitution comfortable, competent, and creative enough to make our democracy qualitative. If our democracy will be qualitative, we will be moral in terms of implementation of or inculcation of those values which are enshrined in the constitution of the country. So, we will talk about constitutional morality, we will talk about constitutionalism in the light of these all whatsoever we have discussed in past, and in that way, the basic of constitution we will be comfortable with. I will repeat again that constitution is nothing but a technical dimension of this paper. Constitution will talk about the technicalities of the political institution of the country. So, essential for us to be careful about the technicalities, technical, theoretical aspects of the political system of the country, social system of the country, economic system of the country. And that will be reflected in the constitution. And whatsoever topic I shared with you, these all topics ultimately will cover those areas which will guide us to understand this polity. Okay? Take one example. When we will cover polity aspect, suppose I am going to write here polity, when I will discuss with you polity aspect. Polity means what? Institutions which are created to implement constitution. Polity will cover what? Institutions which are created to implement constitution. And what kind of institutions we have created? We have created number of institutions, like we have executive, we have legislative, we have judiciary. These are the institutions, right? And then number of sub-parts of the institutions you will find. For example, judiciary will be divided into traditional judiciary and modern judiciary. Then modern judiciary also will be divided into ADRM, fast track court, online, live streaming, etc. And then you will find the conceptual dimension of concept of judiciary, like public interest litigation, like judicial review, like judicial activism, like separation of power. This kind of things you will find in your judiciary section. And very important thing, I am taking opportunity in last 3-4 days, you will find none other than judges Supreme Court, including the Pankaj Datta. You will find they are giving a statement or comment against our judiciary. They are coming out with a statement that will not make Supreme Court even comfortable. For example, 2 days before, one judge Supreme Court, I will not name, he categorically stated that if judges will come under fear, if judges will suffer from any kind of fear, fear of transfer, fear of punishment, very difficult for them to give justice. They will not give justice if they will be afraid of something. So judges are under pressure. Judges are suffering from fear. They are afraid of something that is not visible, that is not seen. So this kind of things, in terms of judicial reform, we will have to be careful about. So whenever we will discuss judiciary, we will have to discuss judiciary in the light of the constitution whatsoever we have. Because constitution under article 124 giving responsibility to judiciary to be custodian of constitution. So if judiciary is expected to be custodian of constitution, essential for judiciary to reform itself, to perform as a traditional judiciary, as a modern judiciary, after accommodating all those conceptual interpretations in terms of public interest litigation or judicial activism or judicial review or separation of power, etc. So these all topics ultimately will come in the light of the constitution whatsoever we have discussed in past. Similarly, you will find we have our legislative body. Legislature is nothing but a reflection of the mindset of people of this country. Legislature is representing every inch of this country. So whole India is going to be represented by the legislative bodies, either at a state level or at national level. So whatsoever we are going to discuss in legislature, you will find people used to say at union level we have parliament, and at a state level state legislature. And then most of the time you will find that students give much more time to a structural aspect of parliament. A structural aspect means how we elect our members of parliament in Lok Sabha, how we elect members of parliament in Rajya Sabha, or what is question hour, 0 hour, calling attention motion, etc. These are the facts which are related to parliament. But from my point of view, essential for us to make this kind of topics also not only conceptual but a very analytical in nature. How we will make this kind of topic a more conceptual and analytical in nature. Essential for us to know the actual role and function of parliament. Most of the students commit mistake here. When UPSC asks a question, functions of parliament, that function of parliament will be different from the role of parliament. When we will talk about functions of parliament, then parliament is expected to make a law, then parliament will go for different kind of proceedings like question hour, 0 hour, calling attention motion. This kind of things will come under the function of parliament. Right? But when you will talk about the role of parliament, then role of parliament will be more concrete, more creative, more crucial, more analytical, and more microscopic in nature. And when we talk about the role of parliament, that also a traditional role and modern role. Here you will find how our parliament, how our state legislature is competent enough to make executive accountable. Our executive is accountable or not? 0 hour, question hour, calling attention motion, adjournment motion, no confidence motion, these all are the means. These all are the procedures to make executive accountable. But actually these means are sufficient enough. These all means are effective enough to make executive accountable to the country, to make executive accountable to people of this country. That we will have to know. And when we will try to know these kind of things, it will be essential for us to come out with data. And when I am talking about data, then data is what? The productivity of 17th Parliament, productivity of 18th Parliament, productivity of budgetary session Lok Sabha, productivity of winter session Lok Sabha. This kind of productivity we will have to come out with data. Essential for us to understand that on an average, how much time we have allocated, how much time we have devoted, how much time we have dedicated to discuss and then to pass any bill. Because bills are nothing but bills are there to decide the fate of the country, the targeted people. So before going to notify the act, before going to notify the bill law, essential for us to give sufficient time to deal with the bill. So what kind of time, to what extent our parliament came and discussed those bills in a productive manner. Parliament should not be a victim of hooligan. Parliament should not be a victim of any kind of nuisance or chaotic environment. It will be essential for Parliament to come out with sufficient democratic civility to deal with the subject matter with utmost sincerity and carefulness. Because the law whatsoever going to be passed will not only affect the people of the country, but will decide the future course of action for the country. So, our parliament and our state legislature should be very, very careful. And parliament and state legislature, when will be careful, it means all functionaries of parliament and state legislature, particularly Speaker of Lok Sabha and the Chairperson Rajya Sabha, will be very, very crucial. They will have to play a very neutral and impartial role. They should not be indulged in any kind of politics, and they will have to lead from the front. They will have to lead with example. They will have to set examples. Apart from that, you will find that parliamentary committees also play very effective role. Most of the time what we do, that we select estimate committee, we select public account committee, and we select committee on public undertaking to discuss that what are the positive aspects, what are the negative aspects. From my point of view, essential thing for us, that why committee system is required. What is the significance of committee system? And committee system, how will introduce scientific management in parliamentary democratic system? It will be essential for us to understand that how committee system will make our parliamentary democracy qualitative rather than quantitative. How committee system will lead parliamentary democratic system towards good governance and towards ethical governance, that we will have to understand. So this kind of things should be accommodated when we prepare legislature. Otherwise, in general terminology, you will find in books or in guides, you will find state legislature, Vidhan Sabha, or the Vidhan Parishad, assembly or council, and then Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha at national level. We used to compare Lok Sabha with Vidhan Sabha. We used to compare Rajya Sabha with Vidhan Parishad. So that kind of instrumental aspects, that kind of pattern, to some extent obsolete one. We will have to change the thing. We will have to make those topics more creative. We will have to go with the pace of the time. And time is not demanding from us how many members are in Lok Sabha, how many members are in Rajya Sabha. But time is demanding from us that why the person who is chief minister of one state is forced, either self-imposition or from outside, the person who is a chief minister of the state out of a sudden coming to Rajya Sabha. And then who will bear the cost? What will be the price of cost, price of trust? To what extent it will be costly affair if one chief minister in between of tenure will come to Rajya Sabha, and will come to Rajya Sabha for what? So that kind of politics essential for us to discuss, to analyze. But that kind of analysis should not be political. That kind of analysis should be in the light of constitutional morality and constitutionalism in our country. Now, in the same way, come to executive. Again, when you will come to executive, you will find union executive and then state executive. Here you will find governor, here you will find president, you will find vice president, you will find prime minister and council of ministers and other executive bodies like PMO. Now, again, Constitution talks about President of India. Constitution talks about Prime Minister. Constitution talks about this all. But the general, a very common perception among us, that Prime Minister is more powerful than President of India. What actually Constitution says, what actually political ambience of the country decides, how political equation contribute in deciding the real status of the President of India and the real status of the Prime Minister along with Council of Ministers, that we will have to understand. We will have to understand what is the locus standi, what is the relevance, what is the applicability of capital punishment in 21st century, where people are most of the time talking about human right, when people are talking about natural right, when people are talking about a reformist approach rather than retributive approach. To what extent our constitution is expected and accepted, expected to accept it, that capital punishment still is wise enough decision to continue with, and President of India should take care of the mercy petition as per the advice given by Council of Ministers. So this kind of things. And one more thing I want to share with you, ordinances under Article 123 and 213 of the Constitution. Ordinances. How ordinance is a violation of separation of power. And why ordinance is considered essential in parliamentary democratic system, even at the cost of separation of power. What is ordinance? When ordinance will be issued? These are the facts. One can narrate it, one can cram it, but rote learning will not be sufficient. It will be essential for us to understand that how ordinance will contradict with separation of power. What was the opinion of one member of Constituent Assembly, K.T. Shah? What is the opinion of, or what was the opinion of Supreme Court in D.C. Badhwa case? What was the opinion of Supreme Court in R.C. Cooper case, etc.? This kind of analytical study actually will be demand in executive section, and Governor, I hope all of you know, even in recent time period, the issue of governor is in controversy. Governors are not coming out with the established constitutional precedent to read a speech prepared by Council of Ministers on the very first day of the session. And you will find in number of states, governors refuse to complete their lecture, or I should say speech, on a specific session, either budget session or winter session whatsoever. So governors why are controversial, and if governors will become controversial, what will be impact on union-state relationship? That we will have to understand. What will be impact on federalism? That we will have to understand. So this kind of political institutions we will have to cover, and then you will find in your syllabus, you will find number of institutions. Institution means constitutional bodies. Then you will find statutory bodies. Then you will find quasi-judicial bodies. So again, these bodies also will be discussed in the light of preamble, in the light of the very constitution of the country. For example, suppose we are going to deal with the constitutional bodies, election commission. Then how many members will be there in election commission? Not very important. But in what way they are going to be appointed and what kind of controversies linked with this kind of appointment, that is a subject matter. Why today's election commission is reducing its own trust? Why the credibility of election commission every day going downward? Or if not going downward, why election commission is in controversy? If election commission will be in controversy, then how election will be considered a free and fair election? Freebie, anti-defection, model code of conduct, criminalization of politics, funding to political parties under RTI. Number of topics are linked with the Election Commission. Similarly, CAG. In the era of 21st century, do you think CAG should be confined to the legal audit, or CAG should go for the opportunity audit, CAG should go for environmental audit, CAG should go for propriety audit, CAG should go for social audit? This kind of things are demand of the day. So essential for us to understand Lima Declaration, how CAG is going to be empowered by another institutional support called Lima Declaration. That Lima Declaration actually will make CAG instrumental behind the good governance in financial management. So that kind of thing we will have to discuss. We will have to discuss, you will find statutory bodies like National Commission for Women. National Commission for Women. Our constitution says women empowerment is essential. We are supposed to come out with a self-help group. But more than lakhs of women are going to be harassed and raped every year in our country. But our governments, not one government, our successive governments, if are not allocating funds sufficient, if are not coming out with civil society support system, if are not investing in mental revolution, if they are not utilizing resources for quite social revolution to change the mindset in favor of women, what will be use of this National Commission for Women as an instrument? This commission will have to be a carrier of. This commission will have to be vehicle of those changing environments, which can be called a social revolution or mental revolution in the country. And then you will find quasi-judicial bodies like NGT. Institutions are there. But NGT is committed to Article 48A of the Constitution or not? Essential for us to be careful about sustainable goal. Essential for us to understand ecological, environmental protection. These are given in the directive principles of the Constitution in the light of Bihar, in the light of Chhattisgarh, in the light of Andaman Nicobar, thousands and thousands of acres of land given to some corporate bodies. So what will be the impact of those on environment? Why we are not very much concerned about legislative impact assessment? Why we are not concerned about legal audit? If we will not be concerned about legal audit, if we will not be concerned about legislative impact assessment, very difficult for us to understand the significance of NGT in the light of Article 21 and Article 48A of the Constitution. So my dear, whenever we will discuss these all institutions, my humble suggestion to you that these institutions should not be prepared with the facts. These institutions we will have to prepare with the concept and analytical study. Apart from this all, one major topic you will find union-state relation and local government. Relationship. A relationship cannot be guided by law only. A relationship will be guided by trust. A relationship will be guided by faith. A relationship will be guided by mutual understanding. A relationship will be guided by harmonious relationship. So union-state relationship, either legislative relation or executive relation, or financial or fiscal relation. This all should be taken care of in the light of cooperative federalism. If Granville Austin talked about cooperative federalism, we will have to understand the significance of the word cooperative in the federal philosophy. How the word cooperative going to make federalism a very qualitative in terms of adjectives accommodated with the federalism I am talking about cooperative. The present Prime Minister of India talked about competitive federalism. Competitive federalism means what? Compete against other or compete against self. If you will compete against other, you will create enemies. You will create competitors, outsiders. But if you will compete with self, then you will have to motivate yourself. You will have to empower yourself. You will have to encourage yourself. You will have to improve yourself to give good governance to your own people. So competitive federalism should not be a fight between two or more than two states. Competitive federalism should be to fight against own weaknesses. That kind of thing we should take care of when we are supposed to discuss or when we will discuss either legislative federalism or executive federalism or fiscal federalism. And as far as the local bodies are concerned, union government and state government will lead or should lead by examples. Only then local bodies will follow. Fund, function and functionary. These three words or key words are still associated with the local bodies, and answers are not given, or I should say these all three are unanswered. How we will go with democratic pluralism, how we will go with the democratic decentralization, how we will go with quality democracy, how we will go with the democratic civility, how we will go with the democratic empowerment at local level, these all will be decided by local government. So local government should be the meritorious government. It means knowledge should be at the lowest level. It means maturity should be at lowest level. It means we will have to give much more attention to human resource generation at local level. If human resource generation will be at local level, then the local bodies, or I should say villages or basic towns and cities, will be supplier of human resource at a state level and national level. So, local body should be reservoir of human resource of this country. Local body should be reservoir of human capital of this country. Only then local bodies will contribute. So, my humble submission before you, that whenever you are going to prepare, make your preparation qualitative. You have ample opportunity, you have sufficient strength, but the issue is how you are coming out with your accumulative force, how you are coming out with your creative ability to make your syllabus more qualitative. And once you will make your syllabus more qualitative, once you will make your preparation more qualitative, your time management, your mind management automatically will be online. When I am talking about time management and mind management, I am moving from this part to another part. When I was talking about the requirements from students. When you are preparing for civil service, 2-3 things are required. Basic things. One is called time management. But my dear, all of you know, all of you people have 24 hours. You cannot change the time. You cannot get 25 hours. You will get only 24 hours. But the difference between successful candidate and unsuccessful is not because of time management, but because of mind management. It means how focused you are, how attentive you are, how concentrate you are able to concentrate yourself, how you are focused. if you are focused, if you concentrate yourself, if you are not distracted, if you are target oriented, then your productivity will go up. That is called mind management. So manage your mind. Don't distract yourself. Number of hurdles will come, number of problems will come, but problems are not much more big, much more important. Your target is bigger than any kind of problem. If problems you will make bigger, then problems will dominate you. So problems should not be given much more attention. Your target should be given attention. And that's why mind management is very important. Don't go for rote learning. Give sufficient time to reread and revise. Rereading and revision both are different. When you will reread, you will have to read the same page time and again. But when you will go for revision, then in a fraction of a second, you will reread all those papers without giving much more time. With the help of flow chart, with the help of figures, with the help of other diagrams, in a minimum possible time period, you will not only revise your one topic, but you will link one topic with another topic, and that will give you interdisciplinary as well as intradisciplinary approach to prepare your syllabus. Last but not least, in today's environment, it is essential for us to understand that since it's a topic related to constitution, polity, and right or wrong, good or bad, since independence, our political system is very much ultra-electrifying. So being a student, you are supposed to be very, very cautious. You are supposed to be neutral. You are not supposed to be agent of any political party. And whatsoever you are going to write, you must write with facts. You should not hesitate to criticize government. You should not hesitate to support government. But criticism and support both should be based on fact and facts only. Personal opinion will be disastrous, suicidal. So come out with facts. For example, as earlier I told you, that judges of Supreme Court are criticizing the judiciary. So if you will come out with the statement that judiciary is suffering from credibility crisis, you can quote the judges of Supreme Court themselves, and that quote will justify your conclusion. So you are going to get a support from the judiciary itself. In that way, always be neutral. Don't be biased in favor of any caste, any region, any religion. You are not supposed to be with communal mind. You are not supposed to be a fundamentalist. You are not supposed to be agent of any political party on any ground. You are supposed to be committed to constitution of this country. That is required from you people. And then, as I told you, writing. Essential for you to answer writing. Go for answer writing. And most of the students do what? They start preparation and side by side they carry so-called PYQ. Sorry to say, it is not a fashion. UPSC asks a question only after completion of course, or students are expected to face that kind of question after completion of course. And being a student, a beginner, if you will come out with PYQ, what you will write? Nothing. So be attentive to PYQ, but justify your own stand. Be judicious to self. At least only after one preparation you can go with the PYQ. Or when you are going to take one question, suppose of 2016 or 17 or 24 or 25, try to understand that question whatsoever given, question related to one topic, or there is any kind of interrelated topics, or dimensions are different. If dimensions are different, how it will be possible for you to write? So, from my point of view, and it's my humble suggestion, go with simple questions towards so-called tough questions. And when you are going from simple to tough questions, be careful. Directive words always be decisive. Directive words means how to analyze, how to comment, how to give opinion, how to distinguish, how to differentiate, how to evaluate, how to illustrate, etc. Number of directive words are there, and directive words actually will decide the framing of the answer. Again, sorry to say, most of the students go with what? So-called introduction, body, and then end, or whatsoever jargons they used to use. There is no so-called introduction or body or end or way forward like that. Question will decide the structure of the answer. How the structure of the answer will be pre-prepared without knowing the question. Question will decide the structure of the answer. So we will have to be careful about the questions. We will have to go for practice that how this kind of question can be answered. There is no any ready-made, there is no so-called model answer. This kind of things are unacceptable in this kind of preparation. So, it's a bitter truth. Go with answers, but only after knowing the question. And when you will go with answers, then your answer should be in third person. It means you are not supposed to write with words like I, my, you, or yours. Suppose you are given a question that what suggestion you will give to make your judiciary strong. So what suggestion you will give does not mean that my suggestion is. You are supposed to write that one can come out with following important suggestions. So always be editorial, always be in third language, and you should be polite, you should be civilized, you should be careful about selection of words, and then I don't think any kind of problem for you to touch 130 plus. From my point of view, 100 is simply a 40% marks, and personally I think 100 marks is disrespect to the students who are supposed to qualify this kind of exam. So my dear, in short, I tried to summarize all those areas, including your syllabus, what is required from you, and what kind of answer writing practice you are supposed to go with. So with this all, you can prepare yourself. And yes, one last point, most of the students ask a question, sir, what kind of study material? From my point of view, in short giving you, one, constitution is very important, PM Baxi, Constitution of India. Second, if you have a time, then go with either D.D. Basu or B.K. Sharma or D.D. Basu. But this one is most important one, PM Baxi, that is Constitution of India. And then if you have a time, go with a D.D. Basu or B.K. Sharma, any of the two. And third, if you are a student of this institute, without any hesitation, I will advise you to go with study material whatsoever given. And fourth, the dictation we used to give in classrooms. I am not going to advise you guide, because guide will never allow you to be qualitative in this area. Guide will limit you. Guide will not allow you to cross 100 marks. So, better for you to leave the guide. And if you leave the guide, you will not suffer, because whosoever have prepared this study material, of course will cover that guide also. I know that guide is very popular, but I will complete and I will wind up my discussion with you today that Kautilya was of the view you don't have sufficient time spent to learn from own mistake. You must learn from others' mistake. So better for you to concentrate on this materials. One is the constitution. Second one, if time you have, go with this. Third, study material whatsoever provided by this institute. And fourth, class notes. I think approximately 450 to 500 pages you will find, including your dictation and hand notes. That is more than sufficient. Nothing is 100%, but more than sufficient, I think so. And if you will go through this all, and if you will be regular in class, regular in your preparation, nothing will stop you, and you will come out with flying colors. Thank you. Yes, of course, that is very important. Your friend is asking one question, how you will accommodate current affairs. As I am talking about, current affair is not a different subject. Current affair is related to the subject. If judges are coming out with judgments, essential for us to come out with judicial judgments, and we will have to be careful about number of case studies. I must tell you that approximately 100 case studies will be required, and hope you know in last 5 years UPSC had asked number of questions based on the case laws. So if we will not go with case laws, 50-60 cases if we will not learn or if we will not know, very difficult for us to prepare with that quality. And current will always be related to the subject matter. For example, election commission going to conduct election in number of states. So whatsoever issues will come, that will be considered as a current. When tomorrow presidential election will take place, that will be considered as current. Whenever new bill will come in parliament, that will be considered as a current. Whenever new act will come, that will be considered as a current. Whenever new kind of incidents will take place, like bulldozer, that will be considered as a current. Whenever new kind of hartal or new kind of demonstration will come, that will be considered as a current. Whenever press index, whenever democracy index, whenever hunger index like index will come, that will consider as the current affair. So current automatically will be accommodated in each and every topic whatsoever we are discussing. So again, all topics will be linked with current affair. And I will repeat, current affair is not a separate subject. Current affair is related to the subjects whatsoever we are going to discuss. So it will be the responsibility of the students and it will be responsibility of faculties to accommodate each and every current whatsoever going on to update our course and to update our material. Right? So thank you very much. And I hope next faculty will come to exploit you. So enjoy your time. Thank you.
Hello everyone. I am Radha Gupta and I'll be discussing the history portion of your syllabus. Now here, see, when we are talking about preparing for this examination, for a beginner, the most important thing is to understand how to go about the whole preparation, because there are multiple things that you need to take into account. So first thing that you should start with is with understanding the whole process of the examination. So there are 3 stages: prelims, mains and your interview. Now, when we are talking about prelims and mains stage, history becomes one of the most important subjects in your preparation. Because if you look at your prelims question papers, on an average, you can say that 14 to 15 questions on an average you will find from your history section. When we talk about our main stage, again, there you will find 6 to 7 questions in your GS first paper, only from history. Now, when you look at your other papers as well, for example, when you are studying your social issues, there also, if you have a good idea of history, it gives you a background to the social issues that you are going to discuss. When you study your economy, again there, if you have a good idea of economic policies of British, it gives you a background to understand the kind of economic policies that were being introduced in independent India. So there also the knowledge of history helps you, and it is true for many other sections as well. It makes you it makes your preparation very holistic by helping you not only in your history section but in other sections as well. Now, the second question comes here: what is the exact syllabus of history? Because, see, this is the official syllabus of your prelims examination, and if you look at the history section, it's written History of India and Indian National Movement. Now, this is your mains syllabus. Again, you will find the syllabus to be very vague. If you take the example of modern Indian history, so it's written modern Indian history from about the middle of 18th century, that is 1750, until present, significant events, personalities and issues. Then they have written the freedom struggle, its various stages and important contributors contributions from different parts of the country. Now, how you need to interpret this syllabus? Because the biggest challenge lies in understanding the syllabus. If you understand your syllabus properly, a large portion of your preparation will already become very easy. So first of all, you need to decode your syllabus. Now, how can we do that? Because if you look at the line from 1750 to present, we need to study significant events, personalities and issues. But if you look at your previous year questions, you will also find questions which are being asked from 16th century. So that is not covered here. So how do we need to approach the syllabus? First, how can we decode the syllabus? Because this is the official syllabus that has been issued by UPSC. Now, to understand the syllabus and what are the topics that you should keep in mind, we have another guide that is coming directly from UPSC, that is our previous year questions. So, when you want to understand your syllabus, to decode the topics, you need to take help of your PYQs, because when you are studying a subject like history, it is such a vast subject, that anything and everything that you see around you, it can come under the purview of history. So we can't study each and everything. UPSC is writing significant events. How would we understand which event was significant and which event was not significant? So that is where the role of PYQs come in. So while preparing, first of all, make sure that you understand the topics well. What is the meaning of that line in your syllabus? And there your PYQs are going to guide you, because the kind of questions that UPSC has been asking in the past 10 years, be it in prelims or in mains examination, that will be the most helpful thing for you to decode this syllabus. After this will come the other stages. So let us take the example from modern Indian history. How should we look at our syllabus? See, when we look at the PYQs, what we do understand here in modern Indian history, a very important topic is coming of European powers to India in late 15th century and then again in 16th century. Now, this is something that is not mentioned in your syllabi. But if you look at the previous year question papers of prelims, you will find that UPSC has asked 5 questions in very consistent manner in the past 10 years. So we can very clearly understand that this is one of the most important topics in our syllabus, especially if we are looking at it from prelims perspective. Now here, when you are studying a particular topic, again PYQs will help you to understand which facts or which concepts are more important in comparison to the others. Because when you study a topic like coming of Europeans, majorly 5 powers have come to India during this particular time, and there are a lot of facts associated with them. When you look at your PYQs, you get this idea that UPSC wants you to have a basic understanding of the powers that came to India. Apart from that, you should know about their important basis. You should know about the kind of impact they had on Indian subcontinent, be it in economic terms, be it in cultural terms. So again, PYQs help us a lot in understanding the way in which we should be studying a particular topic. Now, after this, what we should understand, again, the syllabus is saying 1750, but we need to understand the events even before that to make sense of what was happening after 1750. So now, when you come to your next topic, you need to study 18th century India, that when these powers are coming, fighting amongst themselves and trying to prove their dominance over the other, how they are able to colonize India. There must have been a situation which helped them as well. So that is why we need to study conceptually the 18th century India. After this, we study British expansion. How British were able to win major parts of India, or to make sure that other parts which were not conquered directly, even their policies were handled indirectly by the British Empire. So this is a very interesting topic, but again, if you look at the PYQs, it's a very large topic, because you have to study starting from Hyderabad, Karnataka, to what happened in Bengal, to what is happening in Mysore, to what happened with Marathas, again to Sikhs, and these are the major powers. Apart from that also, you need to know about the smaller powers, smaller kingdoms which were there, what kind of policies were adapted towards them, what was the foreign policy of British pertaining to Indian subcontinent and their neighborhood. Now, it's a very long topic with a lot of facts, with a lot of battles, and we generally spend a huge chunk of our time understanding this particular topic. And students become very anxious, I have seen, while preparing this topic, because they are not able to remember so many factual details. Now, does UPSC ask questions from this topic? If you look at your previous year question papers, in the past 10 years, you will not find a single question which has been asked from this topic in prelims. In mains, UPSC asked a very, very conceptual question, where they simply asked you to talk about the reasons why British emerged victorious over majority of Indian states when they themselves had Indian soldiers in their army. So what was it which was making them different in comparison to the Indian rulers? So it was a very conceptual question where we did not need to mug up the years, we did not need to mug up the number of soldiers or all the places where the battles were fought. So when you read your PYQs, a lot of tension that we create in our mind, that gets resolved. Because see, when we don't understand the pattern of a particular examination, and we have been told by a lot of people that it's a very tough examination, which definitely it is, but to ease out your preparation, there are some steps that we can take, because already competition is so tough and syllabus is so vast. So in that particular scenario, understanding the PYQs, understanding the trends, that eases out your preparation and it saves a lot of time. It makes your preparation very, very effective in comparison to the other aspirants, because then you will be able to understand not only what you need to read, but also what you should be leaving out or where you should put less of your focus. So this is very true about a topic like British expansion, which might seem very exhilarating to read about. For some students, it might be very depressing because we were being colonized in that process. But at the same time, you don't need to mug up all the details. That eases out your preparation, that makes you feel more relaxed, that makes you prepare other topics which are having more weightage. You get that additional time, and that time you can devote on a topic like British economic policies. It's a very, very important topic. So if you look at this particular topic, when British are coming here and they are in the process of expanding their empire, along with that, what they are doing, along with that, their primary motive was to extract as much profit as possible from their colonies, and they did it with India as well. So what happens here when we pay attention to the topic, we will be able to understand that economic policies is one of the most important topics in your syllabus, and almost every second year you will find a question being asked from this topic. And here you don't need to mug up a lot of facts. Even in prelims, UPSC is asking concept-based facts. So this is also one thing that you get to understand. Is prelims all about mugging up the facts? And it's a very big misconception when it comes to preparing history, or when it comes to studying history in general as well, that students think that history is all about mugging up the facts. See, when you are studying any subject, for example, when you are studying economy, you need to look up for the data. When you are studying social issues, again, data does become important. Treat the facts in history also in the similar way. It's a very, very conceptual subject if you are studying it in a right manner, and even your examination understands that. UPSC is a very logical institution in this context, that they are asking questions which are very much conceptual. In mains and even in prelims, you will find a lot of questions which are having facts but based on the concepts. So this particular topic needs to be studied in that manner, and a very, very high yielding topic. Again, how do you know that? By looking at the PYQs. So this also makes your preparation much more effective by guiding you towards which areas you should be putting your most of the focus. Coming to the next topic. That is British administrative policies. Now, when you are studying the administrative policies, again, very long topic with a lot of details. But here also, when you look at the PYQs, it makes you realize that you don't need to mug up all the facts. You don't need to pay as much attention to this topic as you need to do in British economic policies. But understanding the administrative policies will help you understand your polity better. So this is why this topic is interesting, because it makes you understand the development of judiciary in India, the development of police system, the development of civil services, the development of your executive, development of your legislative, and at the same time it makes you understand your constitutional development in a much better way. So this is why in the very beginning I said that if you have studied your history properly, it helps you in other areas as well. So this is the importance of this particular topic. Now, after studying this, we come to another very important topic, that is '19th century socio-religious reform movement. This particular topic is important in your history also, because UPSC keeps asking frequent questions from this. It will also help you a lot in your social issues, whatever topic you are studying here. For example, issues related with women, issues related with caste, issues related with the institution of untouchability, issues related with communalism. All these topics, all the topics are very important in your social issues, and you can spot frequent questions from all these issues. Now you get your basis of those social issues from this particular topic. All the debates, whether we should talk about change through law, or we should talk about change by education, by spreading sensitivity, all the conceptual details become very, very important here, and UPSC does ask these kind of questions in your history section as well. Again, a very high yielding area. So after studying this, we need to also understand how we reacted to British policies, because when they are coming here with very oppressive economic policies. Did we ever react to those policies? Or we simply kept following whatever they were implementing? So this was not the case. There were various revolts as well. For example, we come across various peasant, tribal, civil revolts. Now, if you go by the number of revolts that have taken place in India during the colonial regime, you'll keep counting, and they are endless. In various parts of India, revolts have happened against the British, and it's not possible for us to read first and remember all the revolts that have happened across the country. Now here again, your PYQs play a very important role. They guide you towards the one that you need to focus upon. So if you look at the PYQs, you will get to understand that the revolt which could change something significantly, because when these revolts were happening, British Empire was crushing those revolts by applying force, by using their administrative machinery that they had developed over decades. So when all these revolts are happening, there were some revolts which could drive some change. For example, some acts came into action. Now, those revolts you need to study, or if there is a very significant book that has been written keeping in mind a particular revolt, for example, a book like Anand Math or Neel Darpan. So these revolts we need to focus upon, or if there is a terminology associated with a particular revolt. For example, when we talk about Munda revolt, it is known as Ulugulan. So what is this specific terminology? If these kind of things are coming in your study, then you should keep them in mind. So again, whenever your preparation feels overbearing, one gets anxious, and it's a very human emotion that when we are bombarded with a lot of information, and especially in this age of technology where everything is at our taps, if we are able to find, if we want to find anything, we can find it on our phone 24 hours a day. Now, in this particular age, it becomes very important to contain yourself, because the syllabus is already very vast, and if you are going to bombard yourself with a lot of information, which is very human at this point of time, because at every stage, and this happens with every aspirant, that they start feeling that we are losing out on something, the FOMO that we say, fear of missing out. Now, this is something that makes us very vulnerable, and we feel that if we are able to accumulate a lot of information, it is going to make our preparation better. And this is where we need to stop ourselves, because even if you have read a lot of things, there is no guarantee that you will be able to remember it after a point of time. Human brain has a capacity. If you don't revise what you have studied multiple times, you won't be able to remember it, you won't be able to recall it after a point of time. So what's the point of reading that and wasting your precious time? So make sure what you are reading, you will be able to revise it multiple times before your attempt. And again, that's where your PYQs come into place. And whenever you are feeling that you are missing out on something, bring your mind to look at the logic, because fear is not about facts. It's simply irrational. It's going to be there. So you need to look at the facts, you need to look at the logic, and that logic will come by looking at the PYQs. It will make you realize that even if we are bombarded with a lot of facts, UPSC does not ask all these facts in our examination. So that logic can be applied to topics like these. Now, after this, we study another topic, Revolt of 1857, a very important turning point in our history against British rule. But in prelims, again, UPSC is not asking questions on 1857. In mains, they do ask the conceptual questions. So here also, you need to be very clear about the fact which are the more important topics and from which perspective. There are topics which are being asked in your examination from prelims as well as the mains perspective. There are topics like coming of Europeans, where UPSC is asking questions only in prelims. There are topics like Gandhian time, where we are studying movements under Gandhian leadership. That is a very, very prominent topic from where UPSC is asking questions in both prelims as well as mains. So you need to segregate all these things as well, and the sooner you do it, the better it will make your preparation, the better you will be able to devote time on important topics. So after studying this, we study nationalism and political parties. So we talk about the whole idea of nationalism, how we are getting united against the British. We talk about different associations, different political parties at regional level, at national level, and here some factual details become important, and especially from Bengal, UPSC has been asking a lot of questions. So this is an area where you should be reading the facts. And after this, we talk about Indian National Congress, and here we need to talk about both the moderates and after that the second strand that is coming, where people like Tilak or Lala Lajpat Rai, extremists who are talking about asking for Swaraj, who are criticizing the British Raj, not only the British policies. So both the trends, both the ideologies, and UPSC does ask question on that, so it becomes very important to understand both the ideologies, their importance. This is something that you should be very, very clear about. So be it the moderates or the extremists, you should prepare them properly. After this comes our other topic, that is Swadeshi movement, a very, very favorite topic of UPSC from your prelims perspective, where they have been asking questions continuously year after year. And the type of questions that they are asking will range from very simple to difficult ones. Now, here another thing becomes important. When you look at the questions, a lot of students also become anxious because they feel that they'll not be able to solve all the questions in the examination. See, nobody knows all the answers in the examination anyway. There will be 35 to 40 questions which you will be able to attempt easily. After that, even if you have done your preparation with guidance, with complete dedication, you will find yourself in a position where when you look at the questions, you will get confused between two options, or you will not know the answer at all. Now, in these situations, the accumulated knowledge helps a lot, because whatever you have studied will help you in eliminating at least a few options, and you will be able to reach at the right answer. So UPSC has this habit of surprising you with new types of options, as we have seen very recently, or with questions which you will not find even if you have studied a lot of sources. Now, in these situations, we need to remain very calm, because the kind of job that you are preparing for will also throw scenarios before you which you might not have thought about. So in that situation, how you are going to handle it, that is also being tested here, and this whole preparation is preparing you for that as well. Because see, when you are going to go to do a job where there is a huge diversity, there are a lot of pressure groups which are present there, you will find yourself in pickle. At that point of time, a calm and composed mind will be able to take better decisions. So this is not only an exam where your knowledge is tested, but your personality is tested as well, and much more than your knowledge, I would say your personality is tested. So this is a very important aspect of this examination. That's why you will see a lot of people who have huge knowledge, they are not able to clear the examination at times, but people who have relatively limited knowledge, they are able to clear it, because your personality, your way of looking at things also plays an important role here. So please keep this in mind when you are looking at all these things. Try to understand why such questions are posed before you, why this element of uncertainty is there, why your patience is being tested. All these things will help you develop a personality which is required for such a job. So keep this thing in mind. Now, after Swadeshi movement, we come to the decade of 1910. Again, a lot of things are happening here which you will study. I am not going to elaborate on all the topics here because it will require a huge amount of time, and we do need to discuss the other aspects as well. Gandhian ideology and movement. This is one of the favorite topics of UPSC. If you look at the number of questions in modern Indian history, almost 40% of the questions in mains can be solved if you have studied Gandhian ideology and movement in a proper way. So a very simple question, I'll give you an example which UPSC asked this very year in your prelims, where they asked you to talk about the non-cooperation program. They asked you what elements were part of non-cooperation program. Now, if you look at the terminology, when we are saying non-cooperation, that means not cooperating with the British government. How do we not cooperate with an existing government like British? So, you will not buy the products that are theirs. You will boycott their products. You will not help them run their administration. So you will resign from their jobs. You will not go to their educational institutions. You will not accept the honors that they are giving you. It's as simple as that. And UPSC has asked a question on non-cooperation program in both your prelims as well as in mains. The second terminology that becomes very important here, again another movement that we study in our history, civil disobedience movement. How do you disobey the British government in civil manner? So you have to be non-violent, you will have to do everything in a peaceful manner, but disobeying the British government means non-payment of taxes. So you will not pay them taxes, you will not follow the law, you will break the law. For example, the forest law that was there, the salt law that was there, that will be broken. So if you understand the terminologies conceptually, you will be able to write your answers in a very proper manner in both your prelims as well as in mains. So this is what you need to understand here. Pay a lot of attention to Gandhian ideology, and it will be very helpful for you in various other areas as well. So when you are writing your essay, one essay directly or indirectly is based on Gandhian ideology. So there also this helps you a lot. The importance of non-violence, the importance of Gandhian tools, you will understand their relevance in modern times as well. And UPSC does ask questions on these kind of themes. How relevant is Gandhi even in today's time? So these are the conceptual things that you need to understand, and while studying all these things in this only, you will study the whole politics of 1920s, 1930s and 1940s. There are some miscellaneous topics as well which you will have to study while studying your modern Indian history section, but more or less this is going to suffice. Now if you look at your syllabus, based on your PYQs, if you have to talk about two most important topics, that will be Gandhian ideology and movement and British economic policies. How you are able to understand it? Just by looking at your PYQs. And this is the similar thing that you need to apply in your other sections as well. For example, ancient, medieval and culture. So when you are studying your ancient, medieval and culture, UPSC asks very limited questions from your medieval section. So you should be devoting more time in ancient and culture, and medieval section can be studied in a short span of time. Why I am saying that? I am not saying that that part of history is not important, but UPSC is not asking major questions from there. So you learn to use your time in judicious manner if you are understanding the examination. The similar thing can be applied to your world and post-independent Indian history. If you look at the examination pattern, UPSC doesn't ask questions from world history and post-independent India in your prelims examination. So factual parts can be skipped here. You can only focus upon the concepts. Even when you are studying the concepts and you look at the pattern of the the examination, UPSC doesn't ask questions every year on modern Indian, post-independent India and your world history. Ancient medieval culture and modern Indian history, that's the continuous presence in your examination. UPSC asks questions on world history, post-independent India some years, and they skip it the next year. So if you have this logic in mind, you will be able to do justice with your preparation. So this is a very important aspect that I wanted you to understand, how to understand the syllabus, how to understand the importance of a particular topic. Now, after doing this, the other important thing becomes your resources. What books you should be referring to. So you can look at all the NCERTs that are there. There are old NCERTs, new NCERTs from 6th to 12th. Now, which NCERT you should focus upon? I would say go by the old NCERT. The reason is that the new NCERT is thematic. If you are starting your preparation, it might be a bit difficult for you to make sense of the chronology. The old NCERT is more in chronological manner, so that might be more helpful for you. Now, there are a lot of books in the market. See, NCERTs are something which you should not skip at all. That is something that you should study multiple times. Apart from that, should you be referring to a lot of resources or not? Now, you can keep one book as your advanced book, not more than that, because you will not get the time to revise. So in each section, if you want, and especially I would say it for modern Indian history, you can take spectrum, and in ancient medieval culture, world, post-independent India, you can rely more on your notes. The reason that is behind it, see, world history and post-independent India, that are not high yielding topics. So there, even if you are devoting a lot of time, it will not help you much in the examination. It will of course help you a lot in understanding today's India. It will help you a lot in understanding current international politics. But from examination perspective, it might not be that helpful. Now, when it comes to ancient Indian history and culture section specifically, there are a few books, but they are very detailed. And more than being detailed, they have been written in complex academic manner. Now, even if you are going by those books, and if you are not taking history as your optional, it will not help you a lot, because you will invest a lot of time and energy in understanding the vocabulary of the discipline, in reading the whole book, which is having thousands of pages, and even after that it will become more difficult for you to revise. So it's always better to rely more on the class notes, because we are doing that research for you, and we are going to provide you all the details. So if you are looking at the notes, and see, when you are looking at the examination, it has become very, very conceptual in nature. So if you think that you will be able to do justice to all the concepts on your own, it's fine. Otherwise, you can take help. So there, what will happen, that you will understand concepts in a very proper manner, and that is what is required in this examination. So it will save you a lot of time of your own. So do that in terms of resources, and devote more and more time to revision. That is very, very important. The more you revise your syllabus, the more consolidated your preparation becomes. And how you should be checking the level of your preparation, that you can do by practicing. So you can take a lot of test series, you can just you can just devote some time every week. See, after studying each and every topic, you should go by the PYQs. That is my advice to you. After studying every topic, solve the PYQs, be it of prelims or of mains. Every day you should be doing that. Take at least 5 questions prelims, which will be prelims based, and 1 question that will be mains based, and just make it a part of your daily preparation. Then on weekly basis and monthly basis you can keep giving the tests, so that will keep you in check. Because when we study, often we are either very underconfident or we become overconfident. So there is this lack of right balance. If we are underconfident, we'll become more and more hopeless, and a lot of our time and energy will be consumed in that only. It will not be productive for your examination. If you are becoming overconfident, even if you are not prepared well, you will think that you know everything. That is also very harmful. So if you are giving regular tests, it will always keep you in check. You will be able to understand your level of preparation at that particular point of time, and it will also help you add things or take things out of your strategy which is not working for you. So this is my honest advice to you, that please practice. When you are preparing for this examination, 3 most important things are studying, revision, and practice. Generally, students limit themselves to study and they think that they'll revise later, they already remember things, or they'll, after completing their preparation, they'll come to revision and then they'll do the practice. Don't do this mistake. Make these 3 things integral part of your preparation. Continuous studying, along with that continuous revision and continuous practice. You will be in a much better space if you are doing that. So these were the things that I wanted to discuss with you in this session. If you want to ask anything, please ask. Okay, so if you are clear about everything, we'll end the session here. I hope it was helpful for you. Keep reading. Have a good day.